Welcome to part 3 of the tutorial. We're now going to get into using tables to place text, images, links, etc. on where we'd like them to be. So let's remember our starting place is the computer. And then we want to go to our P drive. So you might have to scroll down, look for computer, and then look for your name for the P drive. For some of you that's new. Look for your name and then your site. Notice I have a second one I was practicing. So mine's called Eric's site. No capital letters, no spaces here. So if I want to open the web page in Notepad, there's a couple routes I can go. I can right click it. If I just double click it, it's going to open up in Chrome. If you see an E here, it's going to open it up in Internet Explorer because that's your default browser. But we want to open it in Notepad, so you can right click it and say open with. If you don't have Notepad here, you can select choose default program or recommended programs. If that doesn't work, you can always just open up Notepad, click the start. You can't see that, but go up to programs and select accessories. And then Notepad should be there. And then you can go file, open, and go ahead and go to your site. Remember the P drive, it defaulted here. It says Eric's site, make sure you're there. If you don't see it, it's because the default, it's only showing you the text documents. You're going to open an HTML or web page in Notepad. So you want to say show all documents or all files, I mean. Then if you would, you can simply double click it and there I've opened it. So like I said before, if you simply double click on it, and I'm going to do that, it'll open in the Chrome or Explorer if that's your default. So I added the picture in tutorial 2. The way I like my workflow to move is I like to have them both open and just minimize between the two. So let's add a table. Okay, so after the picture, I think I'll add a horizontal rule. I always like adding those. I just think they look nice. So let me go ahead and I can click that. I typed it in HR for horizontal rule. And then I'm going to go File, Save, Alt-Tab to switch. And I need to refresh the screen. And now I have a little horizontal rule here. Alt-Tab or just minimize or click on the bottom, whatever your preference is. Now I want my table. I want it centered. I like to start things on a new line, so I'm going to type center. So everything after this is going to be centered until I say /centered. So, okay. So the tag for table is table. Now within that tag, we can add some parameters. I like to specify the width. I'm going to say width equals, you can do percent of the screen. I could say 80%, but then if somebody with a really huge screen opens it up, it's going to be 80% of whatever their huge screen is. If they have a really tiny screen, it's going to be 80% of whatever that screen is. I like to give absolute values in the form of pixels. Pixels are dots on the screen. And 800 is a nice starting point to check. So it's going to be 800 pixels wide. And I want a separate background color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be writing in this table or cell, and it's going to offset the text and give it some contrast. So it's going to be 800 pixels wide, and then I'm going to give it a different background color. Once again, that's going to give it contrast. So I'm going to write over a different background color. And sometimes the grays look nice. I'm going to add a gray one. So I'm going to do pound. And remember in the previous tutorial, you can just select these hexadecimal numbers. That's usually what I do. Okay, and less than. So instead of going to the tutorial, the sample colors, I just typed it in. This is sort of a gray, and you can choose whatever color you like as long as there's a contrast between the purplish writing. So, so now I have that, and now here I'm in a table until I say end table. That's 800 pixels wide, and now I need to indicate a table row. So rows go across horizontally, like the horizon. And then columns goes up. Columns go up and down, and we call those data columns. So the row, I'm gonna have one row, TR. There's my table row, and one row and one column. So I just say table row, TR, and then TD for a column. So it's going to be one row and one column. Okay, so now I'm going to do some writing here. And go ahead and type away. So I typed just a little message about myself here. So it's a website about me, and this is going to be a little contrast here. So now I need to say end that column and end that row. I didn't put the forward slash. So forward slash TD forward slash table row. And I'm going to end the whole table too. So everything I start, I want to end. End table. And what else do I need to end? So everything beyond this center is going to be centered. So I think now is a good time maybe to have things not be centered anymore, unless I say so again. And center. That's just kind of good practice. All right, so now let's take a look and see if this worked. So I have, once again, I have horizontal rule I added. I'm going to say everything after this is centered. I have my table. I'm saying the width is 800. The background color is a gray. That's in code. Now this is a little confusing. I have a table row and a table column or data, a data cell. 1 and 1, just one rectangle. And it says, hello, my name is Eric. And a little typo here, this. And you're going to write a little bit about yourself. Then you're going to end the datum, end the column data, and end the row, and then end the entire table, and then end being centered. And let's see if it works. File, save, okay, switch, however you wish to switch. I can just click or Alt. Now I don't see anything yet, but what do I have to do? Click the refresh key, and let's see if I made an error, if I did it correctly. There it is. So you can kind of see the contrast here now. And that I think that looks pretty good. So that's that kind of grayish look, and it makes it pop, makes the text pop. That's what we want in here, and it pulses it. It keeps it on the screen as I'm writing. It's not using the all the way to the end. I think it looks tacky when your writing goes all the way to the end. Puts it like a margin that's color coded margin or color contrasted margin. Looks pretty cool, I think, if you do ask me. So. If I do say so for myself. So on we're going to make a more complex table with links next.